am she, seeker of the truth, whose past stretches back to the shores of Africa, whose presence originates in Charleston, South Carolina, whose life is in the kingdom come, whose hope is in the Holy One. Yes, I am she. And to understand the intricacy of who I be, the very essence of what it means to be me, you must go back and take account of the heritage from which I come, to truly value who I be and how I have become. So embark on this journey with me, and together let's set ourselves free. I am she, a direct descendant of royalty, from the distant shores of Africa. My ancestors were brought to a foreign land, brought by force, brought in chains, brought and bought on auction blocks, to build and cultivate this nation, for which they received no remuneration, only degradation, subjugation, and immense humiliation. My ancestors, upon whose strength I stand, have survived generation upon generation at the hand of those whose cruelty sought to undermine and destroy my ancestors' identity and purpose through the degradation they employed, legalizing and sanctifying the horrid sin of slavery, and instigating the genocide of the Middle Passage atrocity, that trip during which millions upon millions of my people, your people, our people, men, women, and children, were savagely killed and discarded as if their lives had no worth. And those who survived arrived in this so-called promised land to till and cultivate the earth. Now generations later, after slavery and emancipation, after Jim Crow, the civil rights movement, and desegregation, which in this present day and age has given rise to institutionalized racism, criminalization, substandard education, and mass incarceration, also known as the new Jim Crow, legalizing the halls of injustice, keeping the people besieged and disillusioned in the web of the matrix, keeping them in a constant struggle for full humanity and dignity in this land, distracting them from their true identity and purpose if they don't strive to understand, like my ancestors sought when they marched and walked hand in hand, to do justice, love, mercy, and walk humbly as the Bible commands. So it is my ancestors, upon whose strength I stand, who have given me great opportunity and a deep sense of responsibility, for I am my ancestors and they are me. Yes, I am she, the descendant of slaves through whose struggles a way for me has been paved, in whose courageous spirit I stand, declaring because they were, I know that I now can. I am a direct heir and benefactor of their faith and resiliency, for I am my ancestors and they are me. I am she, who through the bowels of time and space, the very threads of my being were weaved when my father planted his seed, and in my mother's womb I was conceived, bursting forth from the womb on July 3, 1970, the offspring of an urban mother and a rural father who had lived through segregation and Jim Crow, who had witnessed the civil rights movement, and who knew firsthand the pain of racism and its harmful blow. Born in the deep south of Charleston, South Carolina, born into a world still struggling to fully embrace my humanity, yet born into a world filled with infinite possibilities, born into a family still struggling with identity and the truth of their own reality, yet born into a family that nurtured my potential, born into a period of hope and opportunity, yet born to parents who had a traumatic historic memory of what limits had been placed parents wed in 1971. Then we lived with my paternal grandmother, and my brother was born in 1973. But after a while, when my sister was conceived, my mother refused to have another child in a mother-in-law's house, you see. So they bought their first home with a yard, a driveway, and 2 palm trees. Yes, I am she, the daughter of Jeanette and Amin, their firstborn of 3, born into a world of struggle and possibility, born into controversy that questioned my paternity. I am a product of both their failures and their feats, for I am my parents and they are me. I am she who by age of 21, while working on my college degree, found the remnants of my life in an unrecognizable pile of debris, orphaned in the spiritual and the natural, too angry at God for not averting that final adieu to mommy, my biggest cheerleader and my best friend through and through. This nightmare I was in left me without a clue as to who this God was that I thought I knew. The devastation of it all left me confused and angry at God, the church, my father, who was supposed to protect me. Now to express anger as a woman was bad enough, but to express anger towards God was tantamount to blasphemous. Even so, the feelings of anger got stronger, anger turned good. So I toiled with this contradiction until I could no longer. The anger turned inward, infecting my heart, poisoning my soul, tearing me apart. As I acted it out in harmful ways, far from God I began to stray. Lost in the pit of despair and depression, I found unhealthy ways to give my anger expression. I developed a strong sense of self-reliance, because people say one thing but their actions are in defiance. Even God's self had seemingly failed. Conflicted and dismayed, my spiritual journey was derailed, and for a season I lived in a place called exile, and the energy I radiated was unapologetically hostile. Yes, I am she, hungering and thirsting for truth, in search of a spiritual path I can faithfully pursue, embracing my shadow side as well as its pain and lessons, looking for the silver lining and the unexpected blessings. For I am my shadow side, and my shadow side is me. I am she who in Jesus find reflections of my true identity. For when I was in the midst of darkness and despair, thinking nobody loved me and fearing nobody cared, I found hope in the mystical Jesus when he reached out to me, reframing my sense of worth from what I do to the truth of who I be, to reveal and activate the full essence of my authenticity. The creator of heaven and earth is the definer of who I be. For Jesus reached out to me like he did to the woman who was suffering from the issue of blood. My issue was not blood, but like that woman I was suffering from an issue. And Jesus turned to me, and Jesus saw me, and Jesus said to me, take heart, daughter, yes daughter, your faith has made you well. My reality may be shaped by forces beyond my control, but they do not define me. The very essence of who I be is found in the depths of my inward parts in my soul. That is what gives me identity, for I am a part of the royal family. I am a child of the Most High God, whose very womb gives birth to the divine possibilities of hope, peace, love, joy, and creativity. And it is the truth of the gospel message that sets me free, free to live, free to love, and free to be like the woman with the issue, instantly healed by touching Jesus' garment. Or the woman at the well, offered the living water and compelled to go confined. Yes, I am she, daughter of the Most High God, who has set me free. Free to live a life of integrity, free to love myself and others unconditionally, and free to live abundantly in joyful authenticity. For I am the woman with the issue of blood, and she is me. Yes, I am she, called, anointed, and appointed to my God-ordained destiny to release the captives, children, women, the poor and ethnic so-called minorities from the oppressive systems of capitalism and patriarchy, to oppose the status quo and speak truth to demonic systems of hegemony. By the Lord who in Isaiah 42 called me in righteousness by the hand and kept me as a covenant to the people, a light to the nations, to open the eyes that are blind, to bring out the prisoners from the dungeon, from the prison those who sit in darkness. I am divinely called to set the captives free, a possibility previously unknown and one I could not conceive, but formed to bring forth divine possibilities in the face of a world that seeks to define me, to limit my potentiality and deny my potency. Yet still I know deep within that who I am and who I be may be shaped by where I've been, but my identity is defined by my quest to be free, free to feel my feelings and emotions, free of the societal barriers that seek to limit my every notion, free of familial typecasting and premature responsibility, free of the negative perceptions heaped upon my ethnicity, free to be seen as a person and not an object for sexual gratification, free to be seen as a human being and not a pawn for your economic stimulation, free to live my truth and not their lie, to deny the pervasive and insidious false alibis, to sing my own song, to see my way through the media lies, the dysfunctional family ties, the unanswered whys, the false guise of those who refuse to see and find my way to the truth, that my true identity would arise, to be denied no more but to arise and soar with the great strength that has come not only from my ability to survive, but my determination to thrive in the very midst of adversity and in spite of the proliferation of lies. Yes, I am she, called to live out my true identity, to participate in God's divine plan, to give voice to the truth and take a stand, called to release myself and others from captivity, to take inspired action with kingdom authority. For I am my God-ordained destiny, and it is me. Yes, I am she, called to live out my true identity, to participate in God's divine plan, to give voice to the truth and take a stand, called to release myself and others from captivity, to take inspired action with kingdom authority. For I am my God-ordained destiny, and it is me. Yes, I am she, seeker of the truth, who was called and created to be a vessel through which the kingdom